The studio lights blazed like 1,000 suns, searing Gabriel's skin as he sat rigid on the plush velvet couch. His heart thundered, a war drum in his chest, as the host's voice sliced through the air. Smooth and predatory. Gabriel, tell America, how do you keep your marriage strong when the world whispers about your desires? The audience leaned forward, a sea of eyes pinning him to the truth he'd buried for years. Gabriel, 26, was a vision of composed beauty, dark hair falling in soft waves, green eyes sharp enough to cut glass, and a tailored navy suit that hugged his athletic frame. He was America's golden boy. The charming husband on My Husband Is Not Gay, a reality show that followed men in traditional marriages navigating their same-sex attractions. But tonight, in this Los Angeles studio, with cameras zooming in and millions watching, Gabriel felt the weight of a secret that could no longer be caged. His wife, Emily, sat beside him, her smile brittle but practiced. She was lovely blonde, poised, the perfect partner for a man like Gabriel. Their marriage, to the world, was a testament to faith and discipline. But behind closed doors, it was a house of cards, trembling under the strain of unspoken truths. Gabriel's fingers twitched, itching to reach for something or someone else. Ethan. The name alone sent a jolt through him. A memory of stolen glances and forbidden touches in a New York park just weeks ago. The host, Derek, leaned closer, his grin sharp. Gabriel, you've been open about your struggles. How do you stay true to your vows? The question was a trap, and Gabriel knew it. He could recite the script, talk about prayer, commitment, love for Emily. But his throat tightened, and Ethan's face, those warm hazel eyes, that quiet strength flashed in his mind. He was done lying. I don't, Gabriel said, his voice low but clear. The studio gasped, a collective intake of breath that sucked the air from the room. Emily's hand froze on his knee. Derek's smile faltered. I can't keep pretending I'm someone I'm not. I'm gay. The world froze. The cameras didn't blink, but the audience did, a ripple of shock spreading like wildfire. Gabriel's heart pounded, but for the first time in years, he felt free. He'd just come out on national television, and there was no going back. Emily's face crumpled, her composure shattering. She stood, her heels clicking as she fled the stage, leaving Gabriel alone under the spotlight. Derek scrambled to regain control, his voice rising to pivot to a commercial break. But Gabriel barely heard him. His mind was elsewhere, on Ethan, waiting in a small Brooklyn apartment, watching this moment unfold on a grainy TV screen. Gabriel had met Ethan 6 months ago at a charity gala in Manhattan. Ethan, 25, was a photographer with a disarming smile and a leather jacket that clung to his lean frame. His blonde hair caught the light, and his hazel eyes held a quiet intensity that made Gabriel's pulse race. They talked for hours that night, their conversation weaving through art, dreams, and a weight of living authentically. Ethan was openly gay, unapologetic, and his courage stirred something in Gabriel, a longing he'd suppressed since he was a teenager in rural Georgia, where being himself was a sin. Their connection grew in secret. Coffee dates turned into late-night walks through Central Park, where Ethan's hand brushed Gabriel's, sparking electricity. Gabriel had told himself it was just friendship, but every touch, every laugh, chipped away at the walls he'd built. Ethan was a mirror, reflecting the man Gabriel could be if he stopped hiding. Now, as the studio buzzed with chaos, Gabriel's phone vibrated in his pocket. A text from Ethan. "I'm here." Always. 2 words. And they anchored him. He stood, ignoring Derek's pleas to stay, and walked off the set, the weight of his wedding ring burning against his skin. Outside, Los Angeles glittered, oblivious to the storm Gabriel had unleashed. He hailed a cab, his mind racing. Emily deserved better. She was a victim of his fear, not his heart. He tried to love her, tried to be the man his family, his church, his audience wanted. But love wasn't a choice, and neither was he. The cab sped toward the airport. Gabriel was flying to New York, to Ethan, to a life he could finally claim. But the world was watching, and the fallout was just beginning. New York City welcomed Gabriel with a drizzle that blurred the neon lights of Times Square. He stood outside Ethan's apartment in Brooklyn, his suitcase damp and his heart raw. The internet was ablaze. Clips of his confession looped on every platform. Hashtags like Gabriel comes out and my husband is gay trending worldwide. Some called him brave, others called him a traitor. His phone buzzed relentlessly, missed calls from his parents, his pastor, Emily's sister. He silenced it. Ethan opened the door, his face a mix of relief and worry. "You okay?" he asked, pulling Gabriel inside. The apartment was small, cluttered with camera equipment and prints of Ethan's photography, black and white shots of city life. Raw and honest. Gabriel wanted to collapse into him, but guilt held him back. "I hurt her," Gabriel said, his voice breaking. Emily didn't deserve this. Ethan's hand found his, steady and warm. "You didn't mean to hurt her. You were honest." That's more than most people manage. Gabriel sank on a couch. His suit rumpled. "The world's tearing me apart. Ethan. My family, they'll never speak to me again. My mom, she called me an abomination when I was 16. I thought I could fix myself." Ethan knelt in front of him, his eyes fierce. "You're not broken, Gabe. You never were." The words cracked something open in Gabriel. He leaned forward, and Ethan met him halfway, their lips brushing in a kiss that felt like coming home. It was soft, tentative, then desperate, years of denial pouring out. Gabriel's hands tangled in Ethan's hair, and for a moment, the world outside ceased to exist. But reality crashed back. Emily's face on the studio couch haunted him. She believed in their marriage, believed in him. Gabriel pulled away, his breath uneven. "I need to talk to her. I owe her that." Ethan nodded, his expression unreadable. "Do what you need to. But don't let her pain pull you back into a lie." The next morning, Gabriel met Emily at a quiet cafe in Soho. She looked drained, her eyes red-rimmed but defiant. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "I loved you, Gabe. I thought we were fighting this together." "I tried," he said, his throat tight. "I wanted to be the man you deserved. But I was killing myself to do it." Emily's gaze softened, but her words were sharp. "You let me believe in a future that wasn't real. And now I'm the wife America pities." Gabriel reached for her hand, but she pulled back. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'll always care about you, but I can't live for everyone else anymore." She stood, her chair scraping the floor. I hope you find what you're looking for, Gabe. But don't expect me to cheer for you. She walked out, leaving him with the weight of her words. Back at Ethan's apartment, Gabriel found a letter slipped under the door. It was from his younger brother, Caleb, the only family member who'd reached out. I saw the show. I'm proud of you. Call me. Tears stung Gabriel's eyes. Maybe he wasn't as alone as he thought. But the world wasn't done with him. A tabloid headline screamed, "TV stars gay, scandal rocks marriage." His inbox overflowed with hate mail, but also messages of support, young men and women who saw themselves in his story. Gabriel realized his truth wasn't just his own anymore. It was a beacon for others, and that terrified him as much as it inspired him. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind. Gabriel moved into Ethan's apartment, a temporary refuge as he navigated the fallout. His face was everywhere, talk shows dissecting his betrayal, pastors condemning him, and queer activists hailing him as a hero. He wasn't sure he was any of those things. He was just a man trying to breathe. Ethan was his anchor, but even their relationship felt fragile under the public's gaze. Paparazzi lurked outside Ethan's building, snapping photos of their quiet moments, a walk to the corner store, a shared laugh on the fire escape. Gabriel hated the exposure, but Ethan shrugged it off. "Let them look," he said, lacing his fingers with Gabriel's. When not hiding, Gabriel wished he had Ethan's courage. At night, he scrolled through X, reading the vitriol and the praise, unable to look away. A post from a teenager in Ohio stopped him cold. "I came out to my parents because of you. They didn't kick me out. Thank you." Gabriel's chest ached. His truth was saving someone else's life. But not everyone was kind. His parents refused his calls, their silence louder than any sermon. Caleb, now 19 and studying at NYU, became his lifeline. They met at a diner in Greenwich Village. Caleb's freckled face lit with a mix of awe and concern. "You're all anyone talks about," he said, pushing a plate of fries toward Gabriel. "Mom and Dad, they're struggling. But I think they'll come around." Gabriel doubted it, but Caleb's faith gave him hope. "Thanks for not giving up on me," he said, his voice thick. Caleb grinned. "You're my brother. Always will be." Their bond strengthened. But Gabriel's relationship with Ethan faced new strains. The show's producers were suing Gabriel for breach of contract, claiming his coming out derailed their narrative. Ethan, fiercely protective, urged him to fight back. "They exploited you," he said, pacing the apartment. "They don't get to own your truth." Gabriel wasn't so sure. The legal battle drained his savings, and the stress seeped into their nights. One evening, after a heated argument about whether to go public with their relationship, Ethan snapped. "I'm not your secret, Gabe. I won't live in the shadows. I'm not asking you to." Gabriel shot back. "But I need time. The world's already tearing me apart." Ethan's face softened, and he pulled Gabriel close. "We'll figure it out together." The next day, Gabriel got a call from a lawyer offering pro bono representation. She was a lesbian who'd been moved by his story, and her firm wanted to take on the producers. For the first time, Gabriel felt like he wasn't fighting alone. The courtroom was a different kind of stage, but the stakes were higher. Gabriel sat beside his lawyer, Maria, a sharp woman in her 40s with a no-nonsense demeanor. Across the room, the producer's legal team glared, Their case built on Gabriel's deception. Maria argued that the show had coerced Gabriel into suppressing his identity, exploiting his vulnerability for ratings. The trial was a media circus. Outside the New York courthouse, protesters clashed, some waving rainbow flags, others holding signs condemning Gabriel to hell. Ethan stood by him, his presence a quiet strength. During a recess, they stole a moment on a rooftop overlooking the city. Ethan's hand found Gabriel's, their fingers intertwining. "I'm scared," Gabriel admitted, the wind carrying his words. "What if we lose everything?" Ethan's eyes held his. "You've already won. You're living your truth. No one can take that away." The trial dragged on, but Maria was relentless, presenting evidence of the show's manipulative tactics, contracts that penalized authenticity, scripted moments designed to shame. The turning point came when Caleb testified, his voice steady as he recounted Gabriel's years of struggle. "My brother tried to be what everyone wanted," he said. But he was dying inside. The judge ruled in Gabriel's favor, dismissing the producer's claims and ordering them to pay damages. The victory was bittersweet. Gabriel didn't want their money, only his freedom. But the ruling sent a message. Authenticity couldn't be silenced. That night, Gabriel and Ethan celebrated quietly, sharing a bottle of wine on the fire escape. The city hummed below, alive and indifferent. Gabriel felt a shift, a lightness he hadn't known in years. He was no longer the man on the TV screen, defined by others' expectations. He was Gabriel, flawed, brave, and finally himself. Life after the trial wasn't easy, but it was real. Gabriel found work as a counselor in LGBTQ plus youth center in Brooklyn, a job that felt like a calling. He listened to kids who reminded him of his younger self, scared, hiding, desperate for hope. He shared his story, not as a hero, but as proof that survival was possible. Ethan's photography career took off, his latest exhibit featuring portraits of queer couples, including one of him and Gabriel in Central Park, their love captured in black and white. The photo drew crowds, a symbol of resilience in a world that still judged. Emily reached out months later, her voice softer on the phone. "I'm not angry anymore," she said. "I'm dating someone new. I want you to be happy." Gabe, her forgiveness was a gift he hadn't expected, and it healed a piece of him. Gabriel's parents remained distant, but Caleb kept him grounded. Their weekly dinners a reminder of family that chose love over dogma. The world still watched. Gabriel's story had sparked a movement, with others from the show coming forward, inspired by his courage. One evening, Gabriel and Ethan walked through the park where they'd first connected. The air was crisp, the leaves crunching underfoot. Gabriel stopped, pulling Ethan close. "I love you," he said, the words no longer a secret but a promise. Ethan smiled, his eyes bright. "I love you too." A year later, Gabriel stood before a crowd at a Pride event in San Francisco, his voice steady as he shared his journey. "I came out on national television because I couldn't live a lie anymore," he said. "But this isn't just my story, it's ours. Every one of you who's fought to be seen, to be loved, to be free, you're the reason I'm here." The crowd roared, a sea of rainbow flags and tearful faces. Ethan stood in the front row, his camera capturing Gabriel's fire. Afterward, they walked hand in hand through the festival, surrounded by people who saw them not as a scandal, but as a beacon. Gabriel's life wasn't perfect. Hate mail still came, and some wounds, his parents' silence. The scars of his past might never fully heal. But he had Ethan, Caleb, and a community that embraced him. He had purpose, helping others find their way out of the dark. As they watched fireworks light up the San Francisco sky, Gabriel felt a quiet certainty. He'd come out to the world, and the world hadn't ended. It had opened. His truth had cost him everything and given him more. He was no longer the man on the TV screen, frozen in someone else's story. He was Gabriel, and he was enough.